How the tires that okay, yeah.
Answer on this one is 39. The answer on that one should be 94. The answer to this one should be 49. The winning number today should be 1. Ten out of 19 with homework 53%. Here are the answers. Here is page 1, and notice what I've done here with page 1 is I graphed all the lines and I put the number at either end just like you're supposed to do so you can easily check them. Here's number 1, here's 4, 3, 2, and 5. The quick way to check these, if you want to know right off the bat if you have them all right, is to look for these shapes on the inside that are created. Because if you have them just like I do, you'll have the exact same shapes in the middle. If you do not have, for example, you have this, you get 1. But if your number 1 goes like this, clearly not matching up with mine, then it won't count for extra points. On page 2, the one which I think was number 10, anytime you have x equals a number, you find that number on the x-axis left to right and then make a line that's vertical straight through it. And we'll practice a couple of those here coming up. And there are the rest of them. I believe you had one that was y equals x. If that's the case, what's the number at the very end that's the y-intercept? What number is there? It's not a 1. It's a 0. So that's why it passes through 0, 0, 0. But what does have a 1 beside it? The x, because the 1 is the slope. Just like we had on the homework, you're going to have some that are y equals and some that are x equals. For this one, if you have something that's y equals simply a number and there's no x in there, if it's just y equals -3 in this case, what you would do is find -3 on the y-axis and draw a line straight through it. Y equals means it's going to run left to right. Y equals just a number. And don't forget the arrows at either end. Here's another y equals just a number. In this case, y equals 4. Find 4 on the y-axis and then make a line that goes straight through it. Y goes left and right. Now you could have some that are x equals 6. If you have x equals 6, you're going to find 6 on the x-axis. So 6 on the x-axis is over on this side, and it runs right through there. There's 6. X equals a number will run straight up and down. It's vertical. Y equals a number is left to right. Here's another x. X equals -6. It's a vertical line, and it goes through -6 through -6 on the x-axis. So that would be arrows at both ends. The objective today is going to be A2, create equations that describe numbers or relationships. And what we're doing now is graphing equations. And we're going to do a bunch more of this before we even get into the true value of that objective. All right, example 1. Y equals -3/2 x plus 4. Where do I go first? 4 where? On which axis? Yeah, the y. This is x, and this is y. So we go to 4 on the y-axis and make a dot. What do I do now? I go down 3 and then to the right 2. So here it is, down 3 and then to the right 2, make a dot. Alright, now get your line out, and for some reason I'm on green. I'd like to have black for this one. I have to draw mine off to the side and then move it over because I never hit it just right the first time. There we go. So put your arrows through that. Are there any questions about how I came up with that? Example 2. Where do I go first? -5 where? On the y-axis. Yeah, it's -5 down. So we're at -5, and then what do I do?
3 over 1.
3 over 1 is indeed the slope. So what does that tell me to do?
Go up 3 over 1.
Up 3 and over 1. So I'm going to go up 3 and then over 1, make a dot. Once you have that, create your line. Make sure it goes all the way through the graph. Now let's see how close I can get this one to start with. Right on it. Alright, so there and there for your arrows. Make sure they're straight, they have arrows, and they go all the way through the graph.
Here we go.
For your solution here, this is the y-intercept, and you have to go to 2 on the y-axis. And now for the slope, it's -3/4. So you go down 3 and then to the right 4. Down 3 and to the right 4. Now create the line. I'm going to make this one in red. Let's see if I can get that lined up. There we go. The answer to this bonus is 3. On the practice problem, you have +5. So you put a dot on the y-axis on 5, and according to the slope, it's -2, which means -2 over 1, you go down 2 to the right 1. So let's go down 2 and to the right 1, make a dot, and go back and put the line in. It should look like this. And I'll go back and move it into place. There we go. And arrows on both ends. For the quiz, the 5 extra points each, you have to look at the graph and see if you can figure out what the slope is. I'm giving you the graph. The line is on it. I even have dots on it for you. You see if you can tell what the slope is, write it down, and walk through here with it.
Alright, dude, I got this. We'll pick the slope? What? Oh, God.
The problem is asking for the slope only. So if you come up here with this, like y equals something x plus or minus something, I don't need the equation. I just need the slope. So what you do, notice that I have 2 dots on this line already marked. And when they're right on one of these points, like here's your grid, if it crosses like right in there perfectly, even if I don't have dots on there, that's what you're looking for so you can figure out the slope. But I have them marked off for you, so now you have to count them up. And I'll even zoom in just for this part. It goes like this. You have, starting here, you go up 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks before you're even with this. So you've gone up 4, so 4 over, and then go over to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 over 4 is the slope, but it's not simplified. We never turn in anything that's not simplified. So it should be 1. In the case of Mr. Stickler, I have to share this. Mr. Stickler on his paper wrote problem 1, and the answer is 4 over 4. But by sheer coincidence, the problem number with a circle around it is the answer to the problem. So he got credit for it. On this problem, if you start with the first dot, you're going to go up 2. So you go up 2, and then to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2 over 8 is the same as 1 over 4. You must simplify. Also remember I told you, don't bring up all this stuff. In fact, it's not even 3 that's the y-intercept. Notice that if you zoom in on this, it does not cross at 3. See the space in between the green line and 3, so you can't just make it up. That's why I just want you to bring me the slope, but I'm still getting answers that have all this stuff in there. I just need the slope only. On this problem, the first thing you have to put down for your slope is a negative sign because it drops to the right. So it's a negative slope. Look at your first dot and go down 1, 2, 3. That puts you even with the other one, and then count over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Should be a negative 3/5 for the slope.
We need